We have some new products to try out, the new Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette and one of the new blushes. I bought the lighter one. So we are just gonna dive into some new makeup. This one has just released and I thought I'd do like a impromptu like fast review or fast first impression is what it's going to be. It's not a review, it's a first impression, just to let you know how this is if you were thinking about picking these up for the Sephora sale that starts on Friday. So I will link these items down below in case you're interested. We're going to do some swatches. We're going to be trying this one out. We're going to start with the bronzer. This one is in, okay, she called it a blush bronzer. I already have bronzer on, so I'm going to see how this is. It's called Blush Filter in Latte. It has a really sweet scent, which is like almost like a little weird. So I already have stuff on, but I already know that I like this formula. So I am just gonna like apply a little bit of this and we are gonna see how this is. Yeah, this can definitely be used. And I had already put some powders on, which is like my mistake. So this will probably, but at least now we know. These go on amazing, amazing if you do not have powder on. When I put powder, like, because I had already powdered because I've been doing my hair and stuff, I can tell that this one doesn't blend as good on top of powder. Huda explained that these, I think these are $21 each. I think these are amazing. They're not flat, there's a little bit of shimmer in it, but they're not dewy and they do dry down. She explained this to be like a bronzer blush duo, and I could definitely use this as like a bronzer, like a blush bronzer duo. I actually think that that looks really nice. I like how that looks, and I was able, you can see there's a little bit of sheen to it, but it's dry. So I definitely think that these go on a little bit better when you haven't powdered like I did, but at least now I know. Sometimes you do need to try stuff out, but I really like this formula and I wanted to try out the brown one and I'm happy I did. Let's dig into the palette too. Ooh, maybe let's actually put a highlighter on top. What I'm gonna do today with the palette is I'm gonna do one look on each eye. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm just gonna be making it a little bit easy on myself. I'm gonna do one look on each eye. I tried to do 2 looks with new palettes because I want to give you like versatility, like where can you go with this palette. I'm gonna add on a little bit of highlighter. This is the Rare Beauty in Accelerate. I got this one from Sephora just recently, so this is also available at Sephora. I did have a Sephora haul and some recommendations for the sale yesterday, and I'm gonna have another one as well, which is just stuff that I recommend for the sale in case you are shopping the sale. That's probably gonna be Wednesday, I think. And also on my lips, I am wearing the Naturium in Chai. Fished this one out of my bag. You can tell I've used this a lot. And just a brown lip liner that was laying around. So this is what the palette looks like. Some of these shades, mainly the 2 that look a little textured and rough in the pan, these 2 were a little puffed out when I got the palette. So I pressed them back in and then I could see, I don't want to say the quality, but then I could see like the texture of them. They were kind of, I don't want to say dry, but they felt almost a little dry, rough texture to the touch. But I think that if you work these in on your lid, you're going to get an absolutely incredible, like blinding result. But I do think that both of these, I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be either a brush that you spray with some spray. You can use any setting spray that you have around you, or it's going to be your finger or maybe a silicone applicator. This with a dry brush, I don't think you're going to have a good time with that. I'm just letting you know that right now. There also is a shade here. It's called Bling. Yeah, I was going to say, this looks like a pressed glitter. It is. This is actually a pressed glitter. 2016, is that you? I don't know who called them, but I didn't mean to pick up. So that leaves me a little bit confused. Huda Beauty did also say that this is her last big palette. Is this going to be her last big palette? I think this is going to be her last big palette like this, because this is an 18 pan palette. Maybe she'll do a 12 pan or a 16 pan or a 14 pan, but I would be very surprised if Huda Beauty does not release another palette in the future, because she said ever that's bigger than a 9 pan. I would be willing to bet some money on that next year, this time or even before, maybe for spring, there's gonna be a palette from Huda Beauty that's bigger than 9 pan, but maybe not an 18 pan. That's what I think. But let's dive into this one. Like I said, we're gonna do 2 different looks. For me, I have a more golden undertone. I think you can see that. This is leaning extremely cool tone. So if you also have a little bit of a warmer undertone, this is a cool tone palette. I thought this was going to be a mix between cool tones and warm tones. That's not what this is. This is definitely very cool tone. If you have a cool undertone, some of these might lean a little warm on you, but this is a very cool tone red on me. This is a very cool tone mauve on me. None of these are going to be warm on me. Maybe neutral, but I'm guessing all of this is going to be cool tone. So what I want to do is that I want to do one that is brown, and I want to do one that is mauve, and I want to use the pastel pink on one, and I want to use this like almost like iridescent blue purple topper that's over here. So let's dive in and let's start. I think we're going to start with the brown side. And also I need to get this, we're not using glitter. Everybody calm down. Press glitters? No. First of all, here you can see how beautiful this is looking layered on my cheeks when you're like, we're getting a little closer. And how even though it was harder to blend out over powder, I still was able, and I think it looks really good. At least in real life, it looks good. Sometimes you don't know with camera. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start with one eye. I'm gonna start with the lighter shade and blend the darker on it. Other eye, I'm gonna start with the darker shade and blend the edges with a lighter one. And we can see if this is a versatile formula where we can like choose ourselves, because that is what I like. I like being able to do either or depending on the look that I'm wanting. So I'm gonna start with this one. It is called First Class. And then I am gonna blend that out with Foffer, this one here. So I'm gonna use those two shades, more like brownie shades, not leaning to... Huh? Okay, that is like my skin tone. Okay, mistakes have been made. I'm just gonna buff a little bit of this in my crease. This is my skin tone. Okay. So I'm just gonna buff a little bit of this in my crease, like who cares? So I'm not seeing, for me, any like mid-tone browns. So it's like a light one and a dark one. Okay, now we're going in with Foffer. I mean, it gave a little bit of a beigey tone, but yeah, that was not a crease color for me, let me tell you that. I'm just gonna concentrate this a little bit in the crease. I'm using kind of a fluffy brush to begin with, so I'm not expecting this to be like super detailed and dark out here. Sometimes you need to start with a brush and then you can use the same shade with a different brush to perfect it at the end. Don't be afraid to work with the color a little longer. Don't be afraid to change the brush throughout. Like, you don't have to use the same brush all the time. Like now, for example, I'm gonna go into this one, an EO4, and I'm gonna blend on the edge. Maybe I'll even do a little bit more of that First Class. And I'll just apply a little bit more. Ooh, look at the fallout here though. That was pretty intense. Ooh, I don't know if I love that. That is not ideal. Don't love that. Okay, that was intense, but I think that blend is really nice on this one. And now I'm gonna go in with the smaller brush. I'm just gonna clean this off, and I am gonna work even more, same color, and I'm just gonna apply even more in my outer corner and in the crease to make sure that it is the color that I want it to be, a little bit more detailed. I will say, you can see it's lifting a little bit on the parts where I put the light color down. But I still think it's working pretty good. And we're also gonna put down some shimmer, so we'll be fine. But it's good to know. That's nice. It's very dark and dramatic, but I feel like that's, if you didn't know that, I love colorful makeup, I love dramatic makeup. So when I do neutrals, I tend to maybe make it a little bit more dramatic than some other places. Not saying like I'm better than anyone, I'm just saying that if you want to see how dramatic a palette can go, this is definitely the place. So I think we're actually going to save this pink for the mauve look, and I kind of want to see how this one looks. It is called Iced Out. And yeah, it's like a purple blue duochrome topper. okay, that is actually like, yeah, a little like icy, frosty, fun that there's like a hidden colorful shade in here, because that's definitely like blue. So I want to do something on the edge to meet up a little bit. And I'm kind of thinking we're going to do maybe the silver shade. This is the one that I felt and I was like, ooh, she's a little rough. So, oh, it's so flaky. Like, I don't know how to I mean, maybe you can see it on the brush. Like, it is flaky. It's not really like, in a good way and a bad way. This palette has textures that I don't really see in mainstream palettes. And I mean that in a good way and a bad way. With that being said, flaky indie textures is not my favorite. And it's never been. So I'm like, I'm not sure why that was the one we needed to try. Because I just feel like it can be a little hard to work with. It can look very textured on the lid, especially if you're not 21. And it can give you a lot of fallout. But that, I mean, it looks very impressive. It does. So let me see if I can do a little bit more of the faux fur, which is that dark shade. And just, I'm really going to concentrate it out here and do like a, almost like a little faux liner wedge situation. I like doing this to lift the eye. You can see it lifts the eye a bit. And it creates darkness and dimension out here without using actual eyeliner. And I don't drag it out. I just use the same color as I do in the outer corner and I just blend it out there and then like I leave it as that. I think that usually works out pretty good. I do have fallout though. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm like silvery, I'm like brown, I'm all kinds of texture. Not loving that. A lot of fallout. I'm gonna have to redo some of my cheeks once I'm done with the eye look for sure. So we are gonna do, oh my god, there's like silver from the flaky shade all over. I'm gonna do this one now, the white matte, and we're gonna see how that one is because I love a good white in a neutral palette. Actually, absolutely love that. And I love that this palette has so much contrast. Although I'm missing a couple of like more mid-tone shades. That's just what I would have wanted because these two are also so light. So there are like 5 pastel shades in here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And listen, I love myself a good light matte, but I don't know if we needed 5. Especially not if you're supposed to appeal to different skin tones. I think like 1, 2, 3 is enough. 5 is maybe a hint too much. I do like how this is looking though, but this is looking a little crooked because, oh my god, because it's so flaky here and it's like catching on. I think we're okay. I think we're fine. Oh my god, I wasn't filming. I'm so sorry. I've only been using this one. This is unapologetic. I made this whole spiel of what kind of a shade this was and I wasn't even filming. So what I will say, and I think you can see, this one is more of a red undertone. There is a little bit of almost like a muted raspberry undertone to this one. If you have a warmer like undertone like I do, this isn't a warm tone shade. It is still looking pretty cool toned on me. So I just wanted to like give you an idea of like what you can expect from this palette, especially if you have a similar skin tone or like undertone as I do. With that being said, I wish we had more differences in the mattes. That's what I'm probably gonna say. But maybe this is also me speaking of someone that doesn't always love cool tones. And maybe that's what's shining through here. I am gonna watch some reviews myself after this and see what people that really love cool tones, like how do they feel about this palette? Because I think it's pretty, but I'm not like blown away. And also I'm not doing any like super exciting looks right now. I just want to see what we can expect from this palette, like how it behaves. So I apologize if I'm not being like super adventurous with the actual looks. I just want to try out the quality and see if this last eyeshadow palette from Huda is like actually worth trying out. There is some fallout though, I will say. I think it looks good though. I didn't use a lighter shade to blend it out, and I think you can see that this one is a little bit more shoppy in the blend. But I also didn't want to blend out with the lighter shade. Win some, lose some. I am gonna do the pastel pink. It is called, okay, it's a little, some of these names are a little cringe. This one is IDGAF. I don't give a beep. And there's also one here called she not even she's rich, she rich with 3 eyes. I don't know if either me or Huda is Gen Z enough to be talking like that. This is the pastel pink, and on me, this just looks white. I don't know if I see that much of a difference. And again, I'm a light medium skin tone. That's the foundation that I'm wearing. Well, actually today I'm wearing the One Size Turn Up the Base BBB cream in medium 1. That's the shade that I have on today. On my skin tone, once I get it on my skin, there isn't really that much of a difference between the light pink and the white. This one is a little bit brighter, but the difference is very slight, let's say. So the shade that I really want to try is this one called Aurora. You can see it's almost like a rose gold, and I thought that could be really cute. We'll see. I'm just gonna put that on the lid. Ooh, this one I like. What a nice neutral but still interesting shimmer. I do think that that shade made the whole look pull a little bit more pink now. I'm gonna use a little bit more of that pastel pink and just fade into the shimmer. I really like that look now. That metallic really made a difference. And I'm gonna use a more, like a denser brush, and I'm gonna apply a little extra in my outer corner of the dark matte as well. You know what? I really like this look too. I mean, now that I have them on, these are really pretty. I mean, they are. I'm gonna see if I can find something that matches the waterline here too, that maybe even brings up a little bit more pink. And then we can finish this up. Oh, and I need a little bit more highlighter here because it's not ideal, but they're nice. Am I blown away? No. But maybe it's because I don't love cool tones. Again, we'll see how other people feel about it, but if you have the same preferences as me, I'm not blown away. I will say, and I will leave that video down below as well. If you have similar preferences to me, I much prefer the Roxa palette, both in textures, like the consistency, like the quality of the shadows, and in the color story. This is just a little bit too muted. A little bit too light. So I used a little bit of the pink from Nabla just to bring out the pink in the other eye. So we have one that's like a little bit more like rose goldy pink, and then we have one that's a little bit more brown with that like blue little light thing. Here's the thing. I think that both looks look really good. But with that being said, I am not overly impressed with working with this. I think there are too many super light shades that either don't show up on me or don't show up different on me. And I am a white girl from Sweden. So that leads me to believe that there's going to be a big chunk of consumers that are just, a lot of these shades are just going to be the same, and I don't know how user-friendly that is. And that comes from someone who loves seeing pastels in a palette. Like I said, I love seeing a matte white in a neutral palette. It's one of my favorite things to see in a neutral palette. I think that's amazing. I just kind of wish there would have been something a little... some of these mattes need to be something different. When I opened it, I really thought we had variation, but one of the things that I said in my new makeup releases, and I forgot to mention this in the beginning, is that what I was thinking about when I saw this palette was the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. But even though they look similar here, there's something about using this one that just, this one has more grip to the mattes and they show up a little bit more different on the eyes, giving it a little bit more variety. And even though I think that some of the shimmers in here are more spectacular and interesting maybe than the one in the Natasha Nona, I really like the Natasha Nona, and so far I'm not overly impressed with this one. Not that I dislike it, I just really thought it was going to be something else. And with that being said, I really like the looks. I think I look fierce. I think this looks great. Love the pop of the iridescent blue though. I think that that one and the matte white together with the neutrals is the best touch in this one. I don't, it's hard sometimes to pinpoint. I just really prefer this one over this one, just as like just doing two looks. With that being said, I don't want to say like this isn't worth it or this isn't for you. These are the same price. I just want to give you a perspective from someone that sometimes loves neutrals and sometimes loves cool tones. It just has to be the right one for me, and I don't think that this is. If you do not have the same preferences or undertone as me, I definitely suggest you to check out other creators with a similar skin tone than you or a similar preference to you to see how they feel about this one. My initial impression after doing two different looks is meh. I could take it or leave it. The blush though, I love. Very happy about the blush, very excited, and I just feel like I could have done this with stuff I already have at home that I prefer. Am I being harsh? Maybe. Huda Beauty is one of the PR lists that I'm hoping to be on one day. Not making it easy on myself. Not helping my cause, but I also want to be honest with you how I feel about things. So I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to check out the description box to see more info about these things in case you're interested in reading up more about these things. Also, don't forget that the Sephora sale starts on Friday, and I will have another video again tomorrow on my channel. So this was a little bit of a bonus video. I usually upload 3 videos a week on my channel. Sometimes it ends up being 4, 5, 6. So I hope you enjoyed that. This week it's actually going to be 5 videos plus a bonus video for my members this weekend. So lots of videos this week, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.